Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Kidz Church. This is your last chance to use the restroom. Please go use the restroom, get any snacks you need, and then meet us back here on your couch. You have 3.5 minutes till we start. I am so excited for today. Go use the restroom, get something to drink, and I will meet you back here in 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Till we start. It's almost time. 1 minute till we start. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we are ready to start Kidz Church. And welcome to Kidz Church. I am so excited for today. We have a very, very special holiday coming up in a couple of weeks. Can anybody guess what it is? Well, if you guessed Easter, you're right. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about what Jesus' last day on earth was like and what he did. So I'm so excited that you guys are here with me to talk about that. And we are going to have a little bit of fun first. We're going to get our wiggles out. So Samuel's going to come up and he's going to help lead you in a song. Are you guys ready? I want everyone to stand to their feet. And I want you to be ready to have fun. Come on up, Sam. Wait a minute. You're still not here. All right, that's up to your mom and dad whether you get to leave your seat or not. And rule number 4, have fun. All right, we're going to have some fun today, you guys. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. We are going to learn a little bit more about what we're talking about today with this video. Here we go.
Hi everybody, my name is Najee and I'm going to be your host for this series called What a Day. Do you know how many hours are in one day? That's right, 24. A lot can happen in 24 hours. Things can change big time in just one day. See these parrots? Yesterday, it was just the 2 of them, but in one day, everything changed. This morning, their baby was born. There was just the 2 of them, but now there's 3 of them. That's a lot of change just for one day. See this house? 24 hours ago, it was standing tall and looked brand new. But today, a tornado came through and completely destroyed it. That's a big difference in just one day. Even though a day only has 24 hours, a lot can happen in just one day. And in the last 24 hours of Jesus' life, a whole lot of important stuff happened. And in this series, we're going to look at a whole lot of important stuff that happened in the last day of Jesus' life. And what a day it was. Have you ever been to church watching people eating bread and drinking juice? Want to know what that's called? It's called communion. I wonder where that came from. It all started in the last 24 hours of Jesus' life in something called the Last Supper. Ever heard of that? Jesus and his disciples met together to eat one last meal with each other. Jesus knew it would be his last meal, but the disciples had no idea. This was no ordinary supper. This is where Jesus told his disciples he wouldn't be with them any longer. So he picked up the bread and picked up the juice. He told the disciples to eat them and drink them. Then he said, "While you do this, I want you to remember me." Today, we're going to learn what the bread and the juice represents. The Bible teaches us about this in 1 Corinthians 11. We're going to learn about these important elements and remember what Jesus has done for us. And that brings us to today's big idea. Today's big idea says, I will remember what Jesus did for me. So every time today you hear this sound,
Hey, what's the big idea?
stand up on your feet and say, I will remember what Jesus did for me. And that's today's big idea. Well, we have a lot to learn in today's lesson about what the bread and the juice represents in the Last Supper. This is Najee, and I'll see you next time on What a Day.
Wow, you guys, so it sounds like there's a lot of things that happen in the last 24 hours of Jesus' life. So I am excited to learn about communion. But first, we're going to learn what our power verse says.
Hello, boys and girls. My name is Van.
And my name is Glenn.
And we are here to pump
you up.
Yeah, hey, Glenn.
Yes, Ben.
I have a knock-knock joke for you.
Oh, I want to hear it with my little ears.
Oh, I'm going to tell you with my big biceps.
Oh, I'm listening.
Really in my mouth, but here it goes.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Lettuce.
Let us who?
Let us teach these kids today's Spotify. I'm such a cod.
Oh, you are.
Would you like to hear today's Spotify?
Tell it to me now.
Today's Spotify is...
For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26.
Oh,
yeah.
Wasn't that amazing, Glenn?
That was splendid. I want the boys to stand up.
Boys.
Yeah, the boys to stand up. Up
right,
on your
boys,
mighty,
stand
mighty,
to
stinky
your feet.
feet.
Yeah.
Say the power verse with me, Glenn.
yeah.
On the count of 3.
Go.
1, 2, 3. For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. Good job, boys. Sit down. Yeah.
Stand down and girls, stand up.
All right, girls, let's show them what we got.
feet. Did you know you have muscles in your feet?
You do?
Yeah, and the girls have strong ones.
You
Now,
girls
girls,
ready?
we're going to say the Parvus. Get up, get up.
Come on.
We're going to say the Parvus together on the count of 3. Here we go. 1,
2, 3.
For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. Oh, yeah. Girls, that was amazing. You may sit down.
Yeah.
You know, Glenn.
What?
Communion is very important because it helps us to remember the sacrifice that Jesus made for you and for me and for everybody in the whole world.
That is right, Sven. That is very, very right.
Yeah, so I tell you what.
What?
Let's have everybody, both boys and girls, stand
Yeah.
up.
All right,
And we're
everyone,
gonna do the
let's stand up
Parvus on the
together.
count of 3.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26.
Oh, that was amazing. You may sit down, everybody.
Yeah, well, until next time.
Oh, it's time for us to go, isn't it?
It
Oh, I'm
is.
so sad.
I'm fine.
I'm not. My name is Van.
And my name is Glenn.
And we'll see you next time when we pump.
You up! Oh, yeah!
Oh my goodness, I just love Sven and Glenn. Don't you guys love Sven and Glenn? They're so silly. All right, so let's say
what's the big idea?
Do you guys remember the hand motions? On 3. 1, 2, 3. I will remember what Jesus did for me. Let's do it again really quick. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I will remember what Jesus did for me. All right, good job, guys. But don't sit down yet because we're going to do our power burns. All right, so when we do this, we're going to whisper our power burns this time. Are you guys ready? We're going to whisper on 3. 1, 2, 3. For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. Whew, that is a long one this week, you guys, but I'm sure you're doing great. All right, you guys remember what time it is? Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Does anybody know what time it is?
Offering time!
Does anybody know what time it is?
Offering time!
Does anybody know what time it is?
Offering
I
time!
said, does anybody know what time it is?
Offering time!
It's offering time.
Oh, wait just a second. We're still doing this all online. So how are you guys going to put money in our little offering can if you're not here? I just want to remind everyone that BGMC and offering is still important to give. So we have some ways that you can do that. Down below in the comments, there's going to be links for you in the description. Down below in the description, there's going to be links for you to be able to give online. That way we can still tell people about Jesus. Thank you guys so much for helping us with that. All right, let's see what's next. Oh man, this is exciting.
Woo! Good to be here. Thanks, Teacher Becky, for inviting me. Oh, This is,
All right, let's see this, baby. I'm ready to chow down.
you're scary.
I am Chuck Fu, and I am not scary.
Chuck-
Scary is my cousin. Scary Gary.
Scary Gary. Well, Chuck Fu, I'm just curious, what's with the chicken bucket?
I know it doesn't look like much, but do not worry, my friend. There'll be plenty for everybody. There'll be
Plenty for everybody.
Oh, my
What
word.
do you-
My watch is telling me it's chicken time.
It's chicken time?
It's chicken time.
But we're here to celebrate communion.
Well, duh, that's what I'm here for. Don't you know it's the Lord's Supper? Everybody's talking about it.
Why would you bring chicken to the Lord's Supper? That's breaded chicken?
It's chicken. It's food.
Right?
It's food. I really don't think I'm confused about this. I'm pretty sure I know what this
I
chicken
think
is
you're
for.
a little confused.
I think I know what
I
this
might even
chicken
be
is for.
confused. Yeah.
So yeah, this chicken's for the Lord's Supper. I just brought it for the Lord's Supper. What else am I supposed to do? Now wait a second. Is this where the buffet line starts?
Buffet line? The Lord's Supper is not a buffet. So, what are you thinking, Chuck Fu?
Well, let me tell you a little story. When I was younger, my nanny
Last
Fu.
week.
No.
Oh.
Anyways, don't interrupt. It's rude.
Sorry.
Anyways, when I was younger, my nanny Fu.
Nanny Fu?
Nanny Fu.
What? You know, Nanny Fu? Is that a real name?
It's my nanny. You can have your own nanny. It's my nanny. Anyways, when I was our younger, Nanny Fu would take us to these things like church. They call them potlucks. And all the
Is
kids.
that where pot lickers go?
Yes, that's where I learned to lick pots, and that's where I got called a pot licker.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so at a potluck at church, where my Nanny Fu took me, you could eat as much as you want and get all fat and stuff. And
Hey,
then the older...
Is that a fat joke?
No, it's not a fat joke.
Oh, okay.
Then the older ladies would walk up and they'd be like, "Oh, he's such a cute little kung fu master, isn't he? He's so
What?
cute."
You're freaking me out. Kung Fu? That is not what communion's all about. It's not about buffets. It's not about eating a bunch of food.
Then what's it about? What is it? A fish fry? Tailgate party?
No.
Oh, I know. It's an ice cream social. Could you just imagine that idea? Hanging out with Jesus at an ice cream party, eating a banana split, and there's balloons and fun hats everywhere. But don't you dare invite a clown. Those things, they got the big red nose that looks like a giant bumblebee, stung them right on the point, and they got their shoes. No one's even got feet that big. It's just ridiculous, I'm telling you.
Now, friends, communion is all about the fact that Jesus came and he died on the cross for us. So what we're talking about is the bread. The bread is all about Jesus. It's about his body being broken. And he broke the bread and he shared it with his disciples. And then he took the juice and he shared that with his disciples. And he said to share that. And that represents his blood that he was about to shed on the cross for our sin. And he said, it's all about remembrance of what I did for you and the whole world. Chuck Fu.
Why didn't you just say that?
Well, because your chicken was freaking me out.
I see. So you're telling me that the Lord's Supper is not about KFC. It's not about fried chicken. It's not finger licking good. It's remembering what Jesus did on the cross for us.
That's right. No chicken involved there.
The Lord might have had a chicken.
I haven't seen any pictures of him with the chicken.
What am I supposed to do with the chicken?
We could eat that later.
All right, we'll eat that later. We'll make the kids jealous.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Jesus had a chicken.
Right. So say goodbye, Chuck Fu.
Bye, Chuck Fu.
And
Oh,
goodbye,
wait.
kids.
Oh. Bye, kids. Bye, kids. I'll see you on the next one. This is Chuck Fu saying, eat your chicken.
Make sure it's breaded if it's on Communion Sunday.
Oh, wow. That was so much fun. Thanks, Chuck Fu and Pastor Norm. That was a lot of fun. So we learned that communion is not about fried chicken, even though that would be a yummy way to take communion. But it is not about fried chicken.
Hey!
All right,
What's the
everyone,
big idea?
stand up with me again on 3. We're going to do the big idea. 1, 2, 3. I will remember what Jesus did for me. Good job. Oh, I hope you stayed standing. Okay, this time, we're going to jump up and down while we say the power verse. Are you ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. Whew, that was a lot of jumping. All right, boys and girls, who wants to play a game? Okay, so this is a time where if you prepared something for this game ahead of time, your parents or you can bring that out. I hope you guys have someone to play this with at home. It's going to be lots of fun. Samuel and Benjamin are going to come up and they're going to play this game with us. And it is called Grape Shot. So if you have grapes, you can play this game with grapes. But you don't have to have grapes, knowing that we're only supposed to go to the store for essential items right now. You can use popcorn, which is what we'll use today. You can use mini marshmallows. You can use M&Ms. Anything that's not going to be a choking hazard.
Sit down, Justin. My turn.
All right, thank you. So Benjamin's going to be the catcher. Samuel's going to be the shooter. So this is what you need to do to play this game at home. And remember who won the game or how many pieces you get in your mouth, and we'll talk about it later. Maybe you can put it in the comments below. All right. So, oh, hey, you're not supposed to be eating that yet. Okay. All right. Shooter's over there. Is that as far as he can go? Can you see them both? All right. We're going to get started. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to go till the music ends. Oh, you got one. No show. Oh, no, that doesn't count. Gotta catch it with your mouth. Oh, man. 2. Nice job. 3. Nice job. Oh, thought you were on a roll. Nope. Nope. 4. 5. Yep, 5. 6. 7. Nope. 8. All right, game's over. That was an impressive amount of popcorn that Benjamin caught with his mouth. So comment below on this video if you got more than 8 pieces of whatever you were throwing in your mouth. I'm so excited to hear from you guys.
Don't eat it off the ground.
Yeah, don't eat things off the ground, guys. It's not okay. All right.
Hey!
Oh, stand
What's
up
the
with
big
me again.
idea?
Let's do the big idea. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I will remember what Jesus did for me. Good job. Hey, we're going to do the power verse. We're going to say this as loud as we can. I'm not going to say it as loud as I can right now because it might blow the speakers. But at home, I want you guys to yell as loud as you can and wake up your parents. Are you ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are remembering the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. Good job, friends. All right, are you guys ready to hear our lesson today? I'm so excited. You know, actually, because we have spent one Sunday every month teaching you guys about communion, I bet you guys could teach this to your parents. But we're going to go over it today just so you guys can remember. I need about what happened in the last 24 hours of Jesus' life. So have you ever had something that you really, really, really needed to remember? Like your mom told you that you needed to take the garbage out on Monday, and if you didn't remember, you were going to get in a lot of trouble. Well, what are some of the ways that you remember to do something that you're supposed to do? So those could probably work. So one thing that I learned to do when I was a kid was to tie a string like this right around my finger. And then every time I saw the string, I would remember what I was trying to not forget. But, as I've gotten older and we have these cool things, cell phones now that have calendars in them with reminders and alarms that go off to say, hey, don't forget this thing that you put in your calendar, it's become a lot easier to remember things that we don't want to forget, right? So one of the things that is really important also is to not forget people that we need to remember. So in our Bible lesson today, Jesus was having supper with his disciples, and they're all sitting around the table, and during the supper, Jesus teaches the disciples something that he wants them to do so that they're always going to remember him, right? So, and it's really important not to forget those people or things that mean a lot to us. So today I have a picture. This, it was a really small old picture, so it might be a little hard to see them, but this is my great-grandma and Grandpa Chastain that meant a lot to me. And they're no longer here with us anymore. They're in heaven, but every time I see a picture of them, I have all these memories that come in of who they were and what they meant to me. And it's important that we remember people that mean a lot to us often. So Jesus gave the disciples two things to remember him by. And it wasn't just for them to remember him. Jesus gave these two symbols to help all Christians remember him and to never forget what he did for us. And we call that communion. So in Matthew chapter 26, verse 26, it says, and as they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. Then he broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying, take this and eat it, for this is my body. So the bread represents Jesus' body. And Jesus told the disciple that, and that his body was going to be broken for them. And he was talking about how he was going to be beaten and whipped and arrested. And the disciples had no idea that all of this stuff was going to happen to Jesus. But Jesus knew that he was going to have to face this horrible pain and abuse. And the Bible teaches us that Jesus went through all of that stuff so that we can be healed of sickness and disease. In Isaiah 53:5, the prophet Isaiah, way before Jesus was even born, prophesied, and he said, but he was pierced for our rebellion, crushed for our sins. He was beaten so that we could be whole. He was whipped so we could be healed. So before any of this stuff happened, the prophet Isaiah prophesied that Jesus was going to come and do this for us. Isn't that awesome, you guys? So Isaiah 53 teaches us that because of Jesus' wounds, we can be healed because he took the pain and suffering for us. So when Jesus broke the bread, looked a little different than the Franz bread that I have up here this morning. But when Jesus broke the bread, it was a symbol of how his body was going to be broken for our healing. And every time we eat the bread during communion, we're remembering that Jesus' body was beaten for our healing so that we can be healed. The cost of healing has already been paid for us. So when we have things going on in our lives that we need healed from, all we have to do is come to Jesus and ask, because he already paid for that to happen. So next, the next symbol is the juice, which I have a nice big glass of juice right here, and it represents Jesus' blood. So after Jesus had the disciples eat the bread, he picked up a cup of wine or grape juice, and he said, and this is from Matthew 26:27, he said, "This is the symbol of God's new covenant to save you, an agreement that is sealed with the blood I will pour out for you." So Jesus was explaining to the disciples that he was going to die on the cross in order to pay for their sins. The Bible teaches us that when we sin, that sin has a cost that has to be paid. And when we sin, we deserve, the cost for that sin is death and hell forever. That's what we deserve. But Jesus died on the cross to give us forgiveness for our sins. He paid the price with his blood so that we wouldn't have to. And all we have to do is ask for it. So we need to remember what Jesus did for us. That's the reason that we take communion, boys and girls. That's why we eat the bread and we drink the juice, so we'll never forget what Jesus did for us. When we eat the bread, we remember that what Jesus did so that we can be healed. And that he was beaten and broken beyond recognition so that we can be healed of our sickness and our disease. And when we drink the juice, we remember that Jesus gave his entire life to pay for our sins, so that we can be forgiven. He suffered and he died on a cross, and his blood paid the price for our sin. We must never forget what Jesus did for us. So we're going to pray in just a second. I know we're not together to be able to partake of communion together, but that's something that you guys can do together as families. One really important thing is that you always make sure that your heart is right with God before you take communion. You want to have that relationship in correct alignment. And so today we're going to bow our heads and close our eyes for a few minutes. And while your guys' heads are bowed and eyes are closed, I just want to ask a really simple question. Is there anyone out there today who has heard the message and you're just thinking, I don't know if I've ever given my heart to Jesus. I don't know if I've ever told him that I want him to be Lord of my life. I don't know if I've ever thanked him for dying on the cross for my sins. Or maybe you're out there today and you have done that before, but there's some things that you need to get right with Jesus right now. Maybe there's some sins that have happened that you need to apologize for and ask for forgiveness. We're going to take care of that right now too. So with everyone's head bowed and eyes closed, I just want to pray a prayer, and you can repeat after me. Dear Jesus, I'm sorry for all the bad things I've done. Please forgive me of my sins. Come into my heart and live with me forever. Thank you for dying on the cross for my sins. Jesus, I'm sorry for all the mistakes I've made. I'm sorry for the pain that you had to go through so that my sins can be forgiven. I love you, Jesus. Amen. So I just want to encourage you, if this is the first time you've ever prayed that prayer, I want you to go to an adult and tell them. And we can do some Zoom calls or some Facebook calls so that we can talk about that together too. But for right now, I want you just to tell an adult that is there with you. And I pray that you guys have an awesome week.
Yeah, baby. It's C-S-K-I to the double T-L-E-S. And I'm ready to wrap it up about what a day. It was oh so late on the Passover night. Jesus had the table set up just right. They're about to have a dinner called the very Last Supper. It was a dinner that was like no other. The juice was his blood, the bread was his body. He gave his life for everybody. So when we partake of communion, we gotta remember that he's number one, baby. That's right. You know, communion is when we remember what Jesus did for us. I got a rainbow flavor, and I'm living for my Savior. Skittles out, baby, yeah.
All right, are you guys ready to find out how much you remembered about what we learned about today? So I want you guys to get ready. Let's keep track of who answers the most questions correctly. So when we talk later, we can talk about that, okay? So, question number 1, what was today's big idea? Was it, I will remember what Jesus did for me? Jesus is awesome, so I'm going to eat cheese? Or bacon? I'll give you just a minute to decide. All right, the answer is A. I will remember what Jesus did for me. All right, question number 2. Oops. Oh, man. Okay, what was the name of the karate expert that visited us today? Was it Chuck E. Cheese? Was it Chuck Fu? Or was it Barbara? I'll give you just a minute to decide. All right, the correct answer is B, Chuck Fu. Question 3, what did Chuck Fu think he was going to do with the Lord's Supper? A, get a haircut, B, food fight, or C, eat a lot of chicken? Okay, the correct answer is C, eat a lot of chicken. 4, what was the girl's name who hosted our video today? Was it Princess Belle? Was it Susan? Or was it Najee? All right, the correct answer is C, Najee. Question number 5, how many hours in a day? Is there 24, 240, or 3? The correct answer is A, 24 hours in a day. Question 6, in our lesson, we learned that bread represented A, a Subway sandwich, B, breakfast, or C, Jesus' body. The correct answer is C, Jesus' body. Question number 7, according to our lesson today, what can we have because of Jesus' broken body? A, super glue, B, healing, or C, a pet hamster? All right, the correct answer is B, healing. All right, question 8. In our lesson, we learned that the juice represents A, Jesus' blood, B, windshield wiper fluid, or C, hand soap. Give you just a minute to figure that out. All right, the correct answer is A, Jesus' blood. Okay, 9. According to our lesson today, what can we have because of Jesus' blood? A, ice cream cones. I vote for that one. B, candy bars. Oh yeah. Or C, forgiveness of sin. Even better. Oh, yeah. The correct answer is C, forgiveness of sin. All right, this is our last question. Where was our power verse found? Was it A, 2 Colossians 2:8, B, 1 Corinthians 11:26, or C, John 1:1? All right, the correct answer is B, 1 Corinthians 11:26. All right, thank you guys for joining us today. I am so glad to get to do this with you. I can't wait until we get to do this in person. It is so much more fun having your guys' faces here with me, but I'm very excited that we still have the chance to do this and learn together. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Love you guys. Bye.